Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Middlesex Dressing Room Reunions. This week it's 2005 to present day, a period that saw the 2020 Cup lifted in 2008, promotion from Division 2, winning it along the way, and the Division 1 title at the end of it all. The lineup for this episode is Chris Rogers, Owais, Shah, David Nash, Tyron Henderson, Alan Richardson, Ben Scott, Ollie Rayner, and Nick Compton. And Nashy, really, I can only start with you because just before all the other boys joined in, apparently you've dubbed yourself the Angus Fraser of this episode. So how do you see that role going for you?
Well, I think Gus probably did a little bit more research than me because I jumped on with absolutely zero research. But I do know that the club won the 2020 one year and obviously we won the championship. Both I was absolutely nothing to do with, so I probably won't be saying too much on here and I'll leave it to the lads.
Yeah, thanks, Nashy.
You were social sec for most of it, weren't you?
That was the only way I got on any of the trips, Scotty. VIPs in the nightclubs, and apparently I could do the fines at the Stanford 2020. I managed to get myself a trip to Antigua, Kev, when Shaggy was captain. Bless him, love Shaggy to pieces. I said, how have I got on this trip, Shaggy? He said, oh, I just thought you'd be there for the banter and sort a few beers out and you could do the fines meetings. I'm like, oh, thanks, mate. That's great.
Actually, I was on that trip, Nashy. I'm hoping you haven't got any pictures of that trip, of that fines meeting in particular.
No, that was, Joycey got a bit upset when we made him sing Sussex by the Sea and he hadn't even joined them yet. That didn't go down too well.
Wasn't that was Joyce's honeymoon as well, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah. I think I'd like to hear about all the professional stuff that the club put in place to win the T20, and I don't think you had anyone more professional than the T20 guru himself, Tyron Henderson. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
So what about the failed drug test?
Oh, that was funny. Tell us the story about the failed drug test first.
Well, who was behind it? There could only be one person behind it. After taking forever after the final to actually do the drug testing, because there were lots of beers and things floating around. I think the drug testers eventually followed me back to the hotel eventually so I could do it. So I eventually did the drug testing. And then, of course, a few days later, Mr. Nash got busy on his phone and telling me I'd failed my test 1 and test 2 it also failed and all sorts of rubbish like that. So, yeah, Mr. Nash was up to his normal tricks, I would think.
Run us through that phone conversation, Nashy.
I can't remember. I think I made up I was from WADA or some bullshit organisation.
Something like that.
That sounded really good and just said that he'd failed the tests and someone from the club would be in contact. But at the moment, it looks like the club are going to have the trophy rescinded and it be given to Kent. Tyro didn't have too much to say on the matter at the time, but he was more happy that he'd actually managed to fail the drug test because he didn't know how he'd done it.
Didn't you give him 24 hours to get out of the country? Wasn't that? It was if he got out of the country within 24 hours, then Middlesex got to keep the cup. So he's on the blower to the missus going, back up everything. No, everything. We've got to be out of the country immediately, Ash. He's not well. He's fine. He's not well.
No, they were great times. So I'd like to hear seriously a bit about the sort of 2020 campaign.
Well.
And obviously, Scotty, you're a massive part of that. I'd love to hear a bit. I'm sure the club the fans would love to hear a lot about that, how that campaign was won and the different things that the 1%ers we put in place to win it.
Well, it was really important that we had a wicket keeper that could catch.
Yeah, that helped.
That couldn't bat as well, so we needed someone to hold up number 11 and catch the ball. So I was perfect. It worked out spot on.
So how did we win it? Guys? How did we win that T20? Shah?
Well, getting ace in the final was pretty useful. Didn't fancy rocking up for any of the group stages, and then just turns up on finals day, belts. Who was it? It was Treadwell. No one could hit Treadwell anywhere, and Ace just comes in, slog sweep the shit out of him, and then that was it. Game over. Job done.
Brilliant game.
Tyrone helped a little bit.
Tyrone had a great tournament. Tyrone smoked it everywhere in that semi-final, and even in the final, I think, along with me.
Yeah,
Tyrone was the man, mate, not me. He had a bloody good game. What about Mano's overthrows in that final?
That is the only thing I can remember of that final. Sat in the stand, getting absolutely walloped, and just remember watching Milan throw it from long gone over to third man. It was absolute bedlam. Murta, of all people, chasing after the ball, trying to chase it down. Jesus Christ.
And then Nannes was the one that pulled it back on the boundary, and Nannes' mister said she'd never seen him dive on a cricket field before. It's the first time she'd ever seen him dive on a cricket field.
Nannes was quality up top.
Left arm quick, yeah. He hit the deck hard and he did a flipping good job for us up front. He certainly did, I'll do it. That's for sure. Mert's throwing a couple of dibbly-dobblers out there front, me throwing a couple whatever I threw out there. The three of us got through those first 6 overs quite well, generally, I would think.
Yeah, and then Shaggy and Kartik afterwards for 8 overs and then finished the job at the end.
Where is Kartik?
Can't afford Kartik for this.
Yeah.
Should have got Kartik. Kartik and Physioli we should have got in there. I'd use those two.
One of the more high-maintenance overseas pros was Murali Kartik, I would say, in Middlesex history. High-maintenance was a word for Kartik, for sure.
I think he was the high-maintenance guy ever.
He got his
Compo, you got on well with
He got on well with Compo.
Yeah.
Give me some Kartik story. Give me a story on Kartik, Compo.
Oh, wasn't it something to do with him? If he didn't get the Land Rover Discovery, he wasn't going to come back the next year or something. Oh no, and the apartment overlooking Lords.
Yes.
And the apartment
It had to be the one overlooking Lords as well. It couldn't be the other one, the other side. The one on the other side worth 2.5. He needed to have this side worth 5.5.
He was always very good in the first year of his contract. Didn't do much after that. But his first year of his contract was very good. Yeah.
He was a good bowler though. When he was, I thought he was.
He was world class. Yeah.
How did it go down with a captain being and the overseas player both going for the same position?
What?
Good question.
No, they were the spin twins, weren't they, guys? The two of them both usefully through the middle of the innings, didn't they?
There was one game. What was it? It was wet, wasn't it? And I can't remember. It was one of the lead-up games, and they were talking about dropping Kartik because Shaggy had to play.
Yeah.
Shaggy dropped him. Shaggy
dropped
himself.
Right.
That's right. And in 4 days in the committee room.
Yeah.
We never saw him. He just drank red wine for 4 days.
Great times.
I do remember Kartik opening the batting in one 4-day match, but I can't remember where it was.
Oh yeah. He opened with me against Glamorgan.
Was that the night watches then?
Yeah, he was a night watchman. Yeah, he got 70, I think, didn't he?
No, there was an injury, wasn't there? There were a couple of injuries.
Sam Robson got hit at short leg, I think. Broke his arm.
Ooh.
So Kartik stuck his hand up to open.
Yeah, he played quite well. I think he was like pulling Kirby off his nose. Well, at least that's the way he describes it nowadays, anyway. That was hilarious.
Buck, you were the man, I think, who immediately replaced Kartik, weren't you? So, but it was a real change side for you, though, Buck, wasn't it? Because there were a lot of youngsters. I mean, the guys that aren't here, Owen Morgan, David Milan, they're still playing, obviously. But it was about the youngsters coming through, really, when you took over, wasn't it? As overseas, and then obviously as captain afterwards, Buck.
Well, it must have been a big clear out because there's only Rains on here that I played with. So. Yeah, I remember just Dexy was captain. He'd been given the stripes, and but we had Corey Collymore. He'd come in, myself, and then Mertz was, I guess, the other senior bloke. So there was still a bit of seniority there. So yeah, it wasn't like it was a bunch of youngsters, but there was some good ones coming through. That's for sure.
But I'm going to big you up here, though. It was your runs in 2011 got the promotion, but also the next few years helped keep Middlesex in Division 1, obviously to get them on the way to that title in 2016. Because that was a big thing, really stabilising the club, which Nashi and Owais talked about a lot in the last episode. It had been a real period of turbulence, but this was actually the beginning of settling things down, wasn't it? Which obviously a lot of that fell on your shoulders, in particular with the batting.
Yeah, but it was a bloody good team. There were still some excellent players, Yeah, Morgie and David, and then you had Mertz and Tobes was coming through as well. So, and that's just to name a few. I think Sam Robson was starting to step up. So there was some awesome players. It was just, games under their belt as well. But yeah, we were a good side. I think, Owais, you probably remember better than me, but it didn't go down that well the year before. But you still had a good side, didn't you?
Yeah, we weren't too bad, actually. It was just, but we weren't consistent enough. That was the biggest issue at Middlesex. Just not consistent enough to put those winning performances in. Yeah, guys would get runs and they'll get their wickets, but we just couldn't win enough games in succession, and I think that was our biggest issue. But I guess obviously with you coming, there's a bit more consistency in the batting. I think guys slowly decided to, I guess, develop their game and became a bit more consistent. And I guess you guys got promoted, and obviously went on to win championship.
You came in straight skipper, didn't you, Buck?
No, Dexy was skipper. Kev, you might remember better than me, but I reckon I took over towards the back end of that season.
Because I think that made a difference. We had different captains almost every other year, didn't we? Really, it only took someone to score 300 against us, and the skipper got racked. You know, so right on the trot, we had that. Well, I can't remember what year that was. Eamon scored 340, and then the next week,
Nick Knight
scored 300 odd, and I think we were the only club to have two triple hundreds, consecutive triple hundreds scored against them. I think it was.
Was that when Justin Langer got 300 against you?
That was another time someone scored 300 against us.
Yeah. I played against Middlesex a little bit after that, and all I remember, and Richo, you were bowling down the slope. I couldn't lay back on it, and Nash.
They were that wide.
Yeah, Nashy was behind the stumps, and he kept sledging me, saying they must have brought Chris Rogers' brother over because
So you're an imposter.
I was getting so angry.
You're an imposter.
Yeah, imposter. Yeah. Kept saying about how JL got 300 and who's this bloke? He can't bat shit. So, yeah, I turned around.
No one could. To be fair, no one could lay bat on Richo. Richo was a gun. As soon as you got Richo in the nets, Richo's name, you were facing him in the nets, you just knew that your inner thigh was going to take a peppering. Oh, horrible times. Horrible.
Oh, ribs for me and you, though, Nashy. Ribs for me and you.
Actually, I remember that JL 300, that triple 100. He was on about 100, and you decided to rile him up. It didn't work, did it?
Well, he cheated, didn't he? Well, Langer will never call it cheating, but he got a little glove on one down the leg side, and he didn't walk. And then we were saying, mate, you know, what would Haydos say about this? And then we started calling him Mugabe. We started calling him Mugabe, and he went to...
No, you started calling him Mugabe, not we.
Yeah, not we, you. He didn't
It was all you, Dave, because firstly you were surprised you actually caught one down there.
Yeah.
And you went, I caught one. He's got to be out.
So Ace, you played that. We got 600 for 4, first game of the season, and we were like, we are quids in here at Taunton. They got 850 for 7. It was absolutely brutal. Langer 300. Nashi riling him up for the last 200 on. You were like, I'm not giving up. I'm just going to keep going at him. You never know.
So I remember it was you, Billy, and Ed Smith got centuries in that first innings, wasn't it?
I got 100 in that first innings.
Sorry,
Billy.
Nashi. I should remember that one.
Thank you. Cheers, Dom. It was so flat, though. It was ridiculous.
I think Pybus was coach then.
What do you think of Pybus?
He left after 2 months, I think. Had enough, Dave.
It'd have been
One
one
of the funniest stories I remember with Pybus, I told it on the last group, I still to this day think it was so funny. When Pybus, we used to take out our pillows with us to the away games, and the day before the game we'd find a room and we'd all lie on the floor, and he'd put one of those sort of mental tapes on, well-being tapes or whatever you call them, and I looked to my right and Shah was sniffing like as he does all the time. I looked to my right and he was right by my head, and he just looks at me with his big brown eyes and goes, "Dog, how is this going to get me 100 tomorrow?"
Oh dear.
Brilliant. Great times. Has Compo had enough?
Probably. We're not talking about him.
He's gone to Somerset again. He's going to come back later. I got a message from Fletch here. Ask Rains about the story with his box at Grace Road in 2011.
Opened up my bag first day of pre-season in the winter. I've lost my box. You know, I've not packed it. Everything was made and missing a few gloves. Anyway, we had a young guy that was on the academy. He said, I work at Sports Direct. I said, I'll try and nick me a box. I'll give you a five or something. He comes back with a child's box, but it was a flat one. And I was just like, oh, my God. Okay, thanks very much, man. I didn't have the heart to pie it off, so I put it on. And lo and behold, I get one right in the nuts, and I'm one operation later, still lucky to have my balls. And so, yeah, that was the box. We were doing like, you take 6 balls in each net. I don't know, there's 4 or 5 nets at Finchley, and they're all different. Tennis balls at your head, blah, blah, blah. The last one was Flinger with Scotty in the end net. But it was the seam was going down the middle of the net. They'd opened it into 2 nets, right? So I've got through my 6, but not everyone else is finished. So Scotty goes, I'll go and have 3 more. It was like the second ball into that. So I was supposed to be done. Bang. Out. I went green on the floor. I was commuting back to Sussex. I had to sit on it all the way home on the car. So yeah, no, it wasn't that funny, but it was just something I remembered from that year.
I thought you were going to say, lo and behold, it fit.
Oh no, it's rattling around. Don't worry about that. I'll tell you what. My first memory of Bucky was when he come over. He said, "Nah, I'm a first slip." Chucked whoever was in first slip out, bust your finger first ball, and walked to mid off. Ever since then, you only ever went to mid off.
Yeah, April in England, no interest. But the other person I forgot is Bergie. Bergie was in that side, and he was an awesome player. I think he hit the didn't he go 664 in the last game to get us promoted, and then proceed to go get it tattooed on his body?
It's 646, and I know that because it is tattooed on his arm. Mate, Bergie was my roommate. Bergie was my roommate. I might as well have had a single room. I used to leave the door on the latch because I thought he was going to forget his key, he's going to wake me up or whatever, and I'd wake up in the morning, look over, and no Bergie.
My favourite memory of him, though, was when we came third in 2012. I was in the Westbourne with Angus, and we were kind of looking at the scores as they've been updated, and we were second, but we could drop down to 4th. And then Notts were playing Warwickshire, and we needed it to be a draw to finish on 3rd. And in the end, I think Notts held out for the last 12 overs or something with 2 wickets in hand. And then, so I sent a message. I said, boys, how good's this? Like we've come 3rd, bit of prize money. Bergie's first question was, how much do we get taxed on that? And then I gave him a figure, and then the next week he found out it was £1,000 less, and he sent me a private message. He said, mate, you said it was 8,000. It's now 7,000. This sucks.
Yeah, but if you have to buy every girl you fall in love with a pair of boobs, you have to look at the
He was the beauty, Bergie, wasn't he?
Because wasn't there something with Surrey that year as well, wasn't it? Surrey were in the hunt. We would have got promoted, but we might not have won it, I think.
Yeah, that was it, to win it, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I just remember it being very, very tight coming down to the ends. Where were you? Were you winning Wisden Cricketer of the Year that year, Richo? One of Wisden's Cricketers of the Year.
Yeah, it was a slow news year that year.
How many wickets did you get, Richo, that year?
I can't quite remember. 73, I think. About 18.12. I'm not sure, mate. Something like that.
There was 20 stumpings in that, though, weren't there? Couple of caught long-ons.
How's life at the moment, Richo? You enjoying what you're doing at Worcester?
Yeah, mate, it's good. It's good. I'm on furlough at the moment, Kev, but there you go. No one knows that I'm on furlough. Everyone thinks I'm still working. There's no difference. But, mate, it's all good. All good. They're good.
When you at Warwickshire?
I was at Warwickshire. I got sacked by them. I got sacked by them as a player and a coach, Ace. There you go. There's something for you.
How long have you been at Worcester then?
2 years now, mate. 2
All
years.
right.
So I've overseen us get relegated. So, yeah, usual stuff, really.
All right.
We've got a good crop of boys, really. They work their nuts off, bless them. So it's a really good club, I think. Very different than somewhere like Warwickshire, and certainly different than Middlesex. A real small club, very friendly, but just, yeah, they have a bit of a laugh and a giggle. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it, mate. Enjoying it.
Good.
Ruining a few careers as I go, so that's good.
No, it's happy days. And Bucky, you're in coaching. What are you doing at the moment exactly?
Thanks for bringing that up, mate. I just got the sack, so,
No way. What happened?
He was imposter. That's what it was. He was
I
imposter.
thought it was your brother.
People found out. Yeah. No, it's just, as with a lot of things going on at the moment, mate, there's a lot of change going on, and there's going to be less money in sport, I reckon. So I'm one of the ones who's stopped it. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I was
Jesus Christ.
level up now, not thinking about it. But there you go.
Mate, I didn't know. Mate, we'll have a whip round for you.
Where are you coaching, mate? In Melbourne or in?
Basically, the academy up in Brisbane, we got our next cricket centre there. So dealing with the kids coming through, yeah, it's been pretty good.
Is that the Australian Cricket Academy?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay, cool.
Tyrone, what are you doing now?
I've got a little restaurant here in South Africa called The Cricketer. It was rated one of the top 5 steakhouses in South Africa. I've still got my wedding venue, and I've got a bed and breakfast. So for the last 5 months, things have been very tight here for us this side, because with it being in the tourism industry, I haven't earned a cent for 5 weeks. So yeah, so it's quite tight here at the moment with us too money-wise. So we just got to sort of sickle on and carry on here, and yeah, because we actually come out of lockdown tomorrow. Tomorrow we come out of lockdown, but then they're going to phase in for the stages. But the problem with us is we stage 2, and tomorrow they only go to stage 4, and I think each stage lasts about 2 weeks. So I've got maybe another month with absolutely no training, no income, no nothing. So yeah, so life's quite tough at the moment.
And as I pissed Bucky off with my question to him, I might as well piss you off. So, wedding venue, are you giving the bride and groom their deposits back or not?
That's a no, Nashi.
Or are you thinking about it?
As more importantly, has Compo come to stay with you for free? He seems to be making his way around everyone's house, just staying there, chilling.
He lives the dream, Compo. But he always falls out with them. Then moves on to the next.
Compo's just wrapping up his lunch from the canteen so he can take it home for dinner.
Fucking, what were those days about, when he used to come down with his meal and leave it by his shoes and then go, right, that's my dinner, I'm off the field. Linda, can you do me 2 lunches? I'll have 2 steaks in a day, because my name is Compton. Tell you what, didn't speak to, I remember not even bothering to speak to him after those first few weeks he was there. It was an absolute nightmare.
It was the rolls that Leicestershire had those horrible rolls that he'd made up, and he'd wrap them in cling film, put them in his bag, and we were all nicking them, and he couldn't believe where they'd gone. He'd go and make himself another one, and then at the end of the day, he'd put them all back in, and he's got about 10 of them in his bag.
Well, hopefully we get Compo back, so we want to move on to 2016 or close to that time. But Tyron, while we're on you, I mean, T20 in 2008, that came towards the end of your career, but it was a time really, it was a good time for cricketers who are pretty good at T20 like yourself, because all of a sudden a lot of work came in from a lot of different places, didn't it?
It did, Joe. It was, IPL was basically kicked off the year before sort of things. I was fortunate to get a contract with Rajasthan Royals for IPL from it. And Joe, Middlesex certainly did kick my career off sort of there. But unfortunately, at that stage, I was getting a bit old. If only 2020 had come along about 5 years earlier in my career, it would have been beautiful. But yeah, I absolutely enjoyed 2020. And I love my time in Middlesex playing there. And we had a good bunch of guys. And winning in 2008 was absolutely fantastic. We had a good bunch of guys, and we played some fantastic cricket. We had a good side. Everyone worked together, and I think that's what our key was with that side in 2008, is everyone played for everyone, and we were all for one and one for all, basically. I think that's why we were so successful, because guys all chipped in here and there and everywhere, and if someone failed, someone else just picked up the slack, and we carried on. In the next game, someone else would take over the role. So that's, I think, what made us so successful. But yeah, I can't complain. I had absolute fun doing what I did. I think I gave a few people a few heart attacks the way I batted, because no one quite knew what was going to happen when I walked out there to swing the willow. Anything could happen, and it all happened very quickly. And yeah, we had lots of fun. And yeah, can't regret any of it. I absolutely loved every second of it, and I wish I could have done more of it.
Because you bowled the final delivery. I think it was 3 they needed to win, wasn't it, Ken?
Correct.
And you went block hole. Was it Kemp that was batting?
Full toss and Kemp, he missed it.
Yeah, no, it was six. Yeah, they needed four of 2 balls. Scotty was standing up to the stumps. Then the second last ball went a wide, slower ball Yorker, and Kempy tried to run it down to third man and missed it. The next ball, he ran down the wicket to me. Last ball, I hit it at his toes, and he was straight back into me, and I ran him out. Then next thing I know is Kartik was running at me, and I had to flip and catch him when he jumped at me. And then I got mobbed after that, and all chaos, all hell broke loose after that, basically. And then lots of beers and things flowed after that till 4 a.m. With, if I recall, Joe and I think it might have been Scotty were sitting there playing the piano naked somewhere along the line at the hotel at 4 a.m. and things like that, and all sorts of things. So, yes. Yeah, and if I recall correctly, Morgie was still walking around his cricket spikes in the hotel at 6 o'clock in the morning with his cricket clothes on still too.
Scotty, what are your memories behind the stumps of that final?
Well, Milan's throw, obviously, just remember that coming in and trying to get that. No, I remember. So Kartik, we were in really good control of the game at one point, and then Kartik bowled a no ball that got hit for 6 by Kemp, and then he bowled obviously the free hit that got hit for 6, and then he bowled the next ball, and Kemp just decided to hit it for 6, and it completely changed the game on the turn of those 3 balls. And all of a sudden we were up against it, and it's amazing how quickly that game changes, you know. So yeah, I remember that. And then yeah, Tyrone's last goal. Actually, one thing I do remember, Tyrone went for more runs than anyone else that whole day. I bet he won us the game.
I didn't bowl.
Went for 60. You went for 60 in 4 overs.
No, I didn't. I went for 54, I think it was.
58. We round it up. It's fine.
Okay. It wasn't my best day out with the ball that particular game. Yes, I did. I did pitch. I wouldn't admit that.
That one ball. That was good enough. That was good enough for everyone. So,
Buck and Ollie, like the next few years, you know, that battle in Division 1 stay up, wasn't it? 2014 is the one that I always remember up at Old Trafford, when Murtagh and Harris had to bat to save at the end, and if Lancashire won the match, Middlesex were relegated, but a draw was enough to keep Middlesex up, wasn't it? That was, you know, that was a real point in building towards that title in 2016, wasn't it? Was that stability in Division 1 and that team coming together.
Becky, you better answer this because you dropped me for that one. So over to you.
Probably because you were dropping everything in the slips at that stage. But yeah, anyway. I saw you take some of the best catches in games when I was playing against you, and then drop some of the easiest when I was playing with you. But
I had a bit of a sticky patch, and my captain didn't help me out. I mean, what can you do?
I probably stressed you out a little bit, didn't I? But
I just remember that we went up to get all the team together like a day before, and then we went out for that meal, and that Didier Hamann turned up, that footballer.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was. I don't watch football, but everyone was going nuts over this bloke, and then he turned up in full whites to warm up the day before the game.
That's right. I think maybe Dexy and I ended up back having a drink at his place at some stage as well. He's an interesting bloke, good bloke.
Did you hear that story, Nashi? Because Nashi would love that one.
What's that? Never heard it.
Dietmar Hamann, Liverpool and Germany midfielder. The boys were out for a meal the night before a game, and Gus was with them, and Gus recognised Hamann, so went over and said to him, look, you know, do you want to come and sit with us? And it turned out Hamann is a massive cricket fan.
You're joking.
So, yeah.
He said, right, so I remember this because I was thinking, this bloke's, is he German, isn't he? Or
German,
like
yeah.
A, this bloke's German, B, he's an old footballer, and now he's loving cricket, and he went round the table and he was like, if I don't know you, work harder.
No.
But he did reel off everyone's stats. Honestly, he knew everything. He loved it.
Oh my God.
I remember that game. We were somehow Glenn Chappell hit a 6 or something.
They needed to get to 300 to keep the dream alive.
300, yeah, that's right. They got the bonus point. But we'd also
had like an over to do it or something, and then Toby got whacked.
We'd also lost a couple of points during the year, I think, bowling rate, because Toby.
No, surely that doesn't sound like us.
So Yeah, bowl every over. But yeah, and then I remember that Glenn Shah. He must have got 50 or something like that when it didn't look like they were anywhere near, and then he hit that 6 together, and the whole crowd and him celebrated like they'd been promoted. I remember that, and then yeah, we had to hang in. We were almost gone from memory. And then,
there was a bit of rain on that final morning, wasn't it, that helped out a bit, but it was Murta and Harris, wasn't it, on the final day?
Yeah, that's right.
Murta actually stood in line for the...
batting. Christ, he was... yeah, was he getting in line with them? I can't even remember.
Who did they have? They had Junaid Khan, I think, didn't they? And it was overcast and it was tricky. I remember it was quite nice watching it from behind my crossword, actually, at that stage.
He was probably on the massage table, Rains. He was the last one in the gym, but the first one on the massage table. That was always my.
Well, why would you spend hours stretching and doing gym work when you can just get a bloke to rub your back?
But yeah. That's so we got. I think we was it, well. I can't remember what number Mertz was batting. Was Finney batting behind him?
Yeah, he was.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah. So I don't think we were 9 down, but we it got pretty close in the end. But yeah, we hung in, celebrated. I think like we'd won the championship as well.
We're still waiting for Compo to come back, I think. But a few of you boys were in the stands, weren't you, in 2016 when Middlesex did win the title? Weren't you there, Nashy, with Owais? Were you there as well?
That was amazing. Yeah, amazing day. Embers was there, Straussy. We were doing a coaching thing, and then that was an amazing day.
No, it was, yeah, I remember that. We were sitting
what a game that was.
Underneath the media stand, weren't we?
There we were, mate. It was brilliant. That was Toby was unbelievable, wasn't he?
The thing that was amazing about that is there was so much controversy over setting up the game in the end. And I just remember when you started this conversation, you were talking about a classic old school game at Taunton, 700 plays 700. And I remember when I first started playing, games were set up all the time. You had to, otherwise you just wouldn't get the results. And then suddenly this, there was this, I remember I was out the back in the days I used to have a little chuff out the back when I was nervous, cacking myself, and they were all deciding what they were going to do. And I was just sitting there going, second wouldn't be too bad here. I don't know, I was doing what I did out the back. But then just everyone was up in arms about setting up a run chase. And I just was thinking, well, it used to happen all the time. Just used to remember. I actually remember Nashy, one of my early games, remember at Southgate, when it's a shame that Compton's not here. Compton and Smith ended up on the same end at Southgate, and Styrus was the captain. Styrus was captain. Ed Smith and Compo ended up one end. On a run-out mix-up, both trying to push each other out the crease.
Oh, God. I can imagine it. I can't remember it.
I was just like a young nipper at gully, went behind the ears going, what on earth is going on? And that was when you guys decided to chase 400 on the last day on a club ground, and we had Rana Naved and Mushtaq Ahmed, and we were like, yeah, all right. I remember...
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That was Chris Adams, wasn't it? It was
Sussex. That was ridiculous. That was the worst negotiation I've ever seen.
But I'll tell you, one of the best bits of that was that, do you remember Silverwood? It was like 1 minute to 6 or something.
That's right.
And we still had Mushy lined up, and it was 9 down, and he just took the stumps out and walked off. And everyone was like, whoa, definitely going to win this game. We've got Mushtaq Ahmed, day 4, on an out ground against number 10 and 11. This is happening. And by the time it all settled down, it was like 1 minute past 6. I said, well, we're done. And that was
that. I remember that very well.
That was just an unbelievable, that was unbelievable. I was fortunate to be a part of a couple of championship wins at Sussex in my early days, but I only played sort of handful of games here and there, playing as second spinner to Mushy. But to be part of that for most of the season was... amazing. It just shows when you get a proper captain in, if you get the best Aussie captain in, what can happen, really.
Yeah.
I think Styrus actually said to me at the end of that game, on the interview, he said, I'll be honest, Adams absolutely did me in the negotiation. He said, I'd never negotiated any declaration before. Nashy, you bowled, didn't you?
Yeah.
I did. I got
Murray
Goodwin jugged me. He got about 170, and then I got him stumped by Owen Morgan. I remember
He
that,
did. He
yeah.
literally got about 160, I think it was, off about 70 pills or something.
Oh,
Just
mate, it was unbelievable. He was banging it everywhere.
It was a farcical. Yeah.
Good old Murray Goodwin.
But the other side of it, the Yorkshire match at Lords for the title, I mean, one of the things that has come away from that as well is actually, Ollie, that you boys in the dressing room were quite surprised how many Yorkshire were prepared to chase.
Yeah, there was a great declaration. I mean, that was a great setup for us. That was in our favour. And the good thing about that setup was it was under the proviso that you will go to it. You'll go for the win right to the death. So they were still swinging, and they had no hope. So we were going to get the poles, right? Because I don't know how many overs. We can't have had that many overs left by the time we won anyway. But,
no, there's only about 4 overs left of the season, wasn't there?
So if they'd not stuck to that, in all fairness, you know, we would have been done and dusted. So good on them for that. But
I don't think they wanted Somerset to win it, did they? Really?
Buck's looking pretty bored right now.
I mean,
sorry, Buck, I had to talk.
Somerset, geez, they carried on, man. Oh my gosh.
We carried on.
Oh,
what
mate,
about earlier in the season when Middlesex came down to Somerset and we changed the pitch with about 40 minutes to go?
How did that work for you, mate?
You're allowed to do, but it's fair to say Angus wasn't.
Bucky, you had the stumps in one pitch, and then you took them out, and then just put them in another pitch.
Nashy. Let me just paint this picture.
That's
right?
extraordinary.
Yeah.
You turn up on a used one that you've used in a one-day game. You're thinking, yes, a little ragger here. Nothing else looks like it's like anywhere near cut or rolled or anything. And then the intel is, Murtaugh's playing for Ireland. He's not going to get back to start this game. And we were missing a few other guys. I don't know if Toby played. I think it was like Helmy made his debut or Fuller or something like that. And then literally out of nowhere, these white lines get put in the middle of like the bloody practice strip.
No way.
You couldn't tell which was the outfield and which was the strip we were going to play on.
It was Taunton. It was flat. Like it was not even. It's like Jesus Christ. It's not that bad. And the pitch we were originally going to play on, mate, we'd still be playing on it if we'd play. There was going to be no result. It was a dead one. So you did turn up. We did see there was no Murtaugh. Some young punk by the name of Harry Podmore was going to play.
Podders.
And then Potters proceeded to be the best bowler in the game. So, you know. And then
now, credit where's credit's due, though, Bucky. I'll give you credit on this because a lot of our success was we did set up some good bets. You did give it a go, right? In the games leading up to that under your captaincy, we did risk it a bit, like trying to give teams a bit of a carrot to go for it, which did result in a few wins. And then you did reciprocate it on that time when you were the opposition captain.
Well, Bucky, that was what you said actually, though, because there was obviously a little bit of controversy, wasn't there? But it was Buck that went on record and said, "Look, if I was Middlesex or Yorkshire, I'd have done exactly what those guys would have done," and that settled it down quite a lot at the time. I remember.
Yeah, what goes around comes around. So the carry on by the Middlesex originally, I thought was just a little bit excessive, you know. So, but yeah, look, in hindsight, I reckon I wouldn't have wanted to change the pitch. I think we got that wrong. We made a mistake. Probably in the spirit of the game, I think we made a mistake. But as for the final day of the season, mate, it's county cricket. Forever and a day, people have set up matches. So you know, you got to take the rough with the smooth. I think.
I'd have loved the opportunity to set up a game. Every game I played, and we got thumped. We didn't even get a chance.
Anyone get a lob up 100?
I got a lob up 70 once. I think it was my highest score. And I remember I was batting with Mertz, and I wouldn't give him the strike. I was like, no. You don't deserve to get 3 runs. I'm sorry, mate. You don't. I remember that. That was at not Vine Lane. It was Uxbridge. That was another flat wicket.
Surely there was never any first-class cricket there. It's too small.
No, I never played any first-class cricket at Vine Lane.
That was tiny and flat as a pancake. I remember the groundsman there, mad as a box of frogs, isn't he? He used to catch foxes in these cages, right? And you go to these cages and you go, "What do you do with them?" He goes, I go to the other side of the M25. If the fox wants to get back, good luck. And if he goes this other way,
So good though. Sausages, mash and beans every day for lunch, and ice cream with jelly and ice cream, wasn't it? Brilliant.
They did bacon. You could buy bacon sandwiches, and they had a little confectionery there. It was ideal for me, Bucky. Honestly, what a place.
Do you remember the game against Hampshire at Southgate where we came off the field and everyone's stuff had gone? Who was playing in that?
I played in that. Ace, you played in that.
Ace played in that game.
Yeah, so we came off the field and everyone's stuff had gone. Phones, wallets, stuff like that. 2 people had come in and stolen different things, hadn't they? So one guy's come in and stolen wallets and phones and all that kind of shit. And another guy's had an absolute stinker. He must have come in after that guy. So all was left with bats and shirts and stuff. To top it off, he's the one that got caught.
Did someone have a Rolex, Scotty? Because I bought a Rolex off Samit Patel 2 weeks later. Maybe Samit had just nipped down and gone in.
Mate, we got done when I was playing for Sussex against Middlesex at Uxbridge, and they got done. Not my stuff. I had like a Casio watch and a Nokia phone. And I left it on the bench.
Samit still tried to flog it though, didn't he?
Couldn't get rid of it.
Mate, so Samit, right? We were on tour, and he was he had to do a fitness test to decide whether he was going to go to the West Indies to play in the England one day thing. So he had to get level 12 or something like that on the bleep test. So he went off with the fitness coach to do it, and he came back on his own, and he came to the change room, and everyone's gone, "Oh, how'd you get on, mate? Did you do all right?" He's gone, "Yeah, I got it. I got 12. I'm going." And we're like, "Oh, brilliant. Well done. Congratulations." The fitness guy came in about 10 minutes later, and we've gone, "Oh, Sammy did all right then." He's gone, "Nah, you got like level 8. So he's come in and just hoping that if he's enough, that it's true. He told it as if we wouldn't find out. It was brilliant. Then afterwards, sitting in the room, and it's like, "What did you get?" "I got 12. And the fitness guy's like, hold on a second. Am I go with this or not? I don't know what to do.
Bless him.
Buck, I've got to ask you, one of the things that was noted down, the club wanted me to talk to you about, obviously, was that 241 against Yorkshire. Was it 472? I remember on day 3, you were saying that the team had just got battered in 3 days, so you wanted to restore some pride on the match, and just went out and played really freely and ended up smashing it and winning the game for Middlesex.
Yeah, I remember it was a beautiful wicket, one of those ones that got better, and then I think Gary Balance was whacking them into the top of the stand to get his 100, and then we'd been outplayed, and it was a bit like, well, we've got nothing to lose, just go and play. And I think we started really well. Sam must have got a few 40 or something like that from memory, and then everyone just kind of chipped in, and it just got easy. I remember Joe Root was captain. One of his first games, I think one of his first game ever, he was captain at that level.
Yeah, that's right, it was, yeah.
He was bloody hopeless. But then, we just kept going, and then it was one of those wickets you just felt like you couldn't get out. But actually, the funny enough, trying to remember a little bit about it, because, you get so caught up in the moment. The Taft, the roomie actually videotaped, like he filmed with his phone the reaction of the boys. And actually, Rains, I remember you, mate. It was you're jumping up and down in the rooms as we knocked them off. I think it was Dexy. Was it Dexy who?
Dexy got off you as well, didn't he? Got like 100.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, Mala got 70 odd, I think. But yeah, I remember that video. I've still got it on my phone. I got him to send it to me. It's one of those cherished moments.
I remember I was bowling to Balance, and he was putting me into row Z. I was just log sweep, and he said, "Oh, why don't you bowl that ball that you bowl, where you bowl a bit slow, like slower and wider outside off?" I was like, "Okay, I'll give that a go," and it disappeared over deep extra cover for 6, and the biggest bounce. And I was like, "Geez, I don't know where to go." Man. Just absolutely pumped me.
I think we're going to have to give up on Compo coming back for 2016. So, Ollie, it's down to you to wrap up 2016 as a season. Obviously, the match at Lords is one of the biggest memories for everybody. It was televised at 10,000 at Lords, but the match at Scarborough was another big one, wasn't it? Where Roland Jones and Murtagh scored a load of runs and then went and bowled them out in that afternoon for an innings victory, I think it was. What's your biggest memory of 2016?
Nearly killing Adam Voges as 12th man, actually. I got left out the first 3 games. I was 12th man down at Hampshire, and I was sitting there, and James Franklin was the other. Well, I was 12th or 13th, or whatever between us. Malla dropped one at slip. Frankie took drinks out, swapped with Malla. Frankie then takes a slip catch, and I'm sitting there. I run the drinks out, and they go, "You swap with Frankie. You're the slip catcher." I was like, "He's just taking the catch." Like, I'm quite happy, thanks. And then one got nicked through the slips to 3rd man into the covers, and I trotted off to get it, and I tossed the ball back in. And Vogie was still standing in his normal position, obviously contemplating the field or something. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, Simo, yeah, anytime now, Simo. Okay, Simo, move, Simo." And then it hit Vogie, flush him back of the head. And he went down and he was out, tongue was out here, recovery position, my legs gone to jelly. I remember that. And then my dad phones me at the end of the day and he goes, "What's up?" I said, Dad, I've had the worst day of my career. He's like, "Well, I saw you weren't playing, but what happened?" I said, "Well, you didn't see it. I nearly killed Adam Voges." He goes, "What happened?" I said, "I threw the ball in and hit him in the back of the head." He said, "What, Adam Voges, the international cricketer, Adam Voges?" I went, "Yeah, Adam Voges, our captain, international cricketer, best batsman on the side." He goes, "Well, surely the first rule of playing cricket is watch the ball at all times." Only a dad could say it. Only a dad could say it. I remember we were just hanging in there. We weren't getting a load of wins. We drew a lot. It was when they just brought the toss in, so the pitches were flat. And then we didn't. And then with a turning point, we won a game at Lords finally, just over halfway through the season. And then I think we probably only won about how many games, Kev? 6 to 8 games, about maybe half. And it was just an incredible year. It was just really, really incredible year. And I remember waking up in my whites on my neighbour's floor the next day because I'd left my keys in the change room. I tried to get into the back door with a pitching wedge. On reflection, I probably needed an 8 iron. And yeah, no, it was incredible. It really was. It was, we were pouring pints in the tab. Everything was on lockdown. It was brilliant. It was good fun. Good season.
It was awesome. Guys, we're going to have to wrap up. Before we do, I'd like to send all of our the best for all of us to Sean Udler, who was meant to be with us today, but as we all know, suffering from Parkinson's at the moment, and had some message this morning saying he's having a bad day. So on behalf of the county as well, sending our best to Shaggy. And thank you all for your time. Much appreciated from the county and the members, obviously, who will be listening to this. Really great to have you all together again.
Cheers.
Thanks, Kev. Thanks very much.
Thanks, lads.
Nice catch up.